I thought you were about to quit the pod. I thought you were about to leave. sorry, I want to mention I'm done. Thanks. Yeah. Like, why do we bother setting this all up? Hello and welcome to the Screenplay Podcast, the show all about video games and movies. If you're just joining us for the first time, each week, one of myself, Nick and Rubes will step into an imaginary elevator and pitch our hearts out, pitching a video game as a film or a film as a video game before we eventually answer the only question that matters. Does it get a green light or is it a game over? We've already covered things like Power Stone, Ocarina of Time and Among Us. If you want to go and listen to those episodes, they're already out. And I'm excited to see what we're in for today. Boys, how are we? Are we all right?
Yeah, man, good.
Yeah, man, good. Switch 2's out, so...
Switch 2 is out. I feel like we could do a whole episode on just this. Yeah.
I looked at Nick on the online, because he was playing what for how long. He's already, like, within a day or two, like, he clocked up 25 hours on Mario Kart. That's like...
25
No,
hours?
not in a day or two.
Yeah, he done it in under 24 hours. Yeah, he done it in 24 hours.
I would love to have done it, but it's not quite that much.
God. Send me a screenshot when you can of the amount of time he spent on a game. If it shows you that.
Like, he spent like crazy hours. I was like, fucking hell, man.
I can look at this very second with my wonderful Nintendo Switch app. I can tell you precisely how many hours I've put into it already.
Oh, wonderful. Let's have it. Let's have it out right now.
I've put under 2. I think under 2 on me.
Right.
On
It's been out for what? Getting on for 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
39 hours.
Oh, that's disgusting. I've played FIFA 25 all year. Since it came out last September, and I still wouldn't have got anywhere near those numbers.
Yeah, that's like more than a work week. Fucking hell.
Yeah. It takes a lot of ignoring of your children and of your wife.
How much of that time would you say, 39 hours, is spent idling? Like, you're not playing, it's just on, you haven't turned it off?
Not a lot.
Really?
No, yeah. That could probably account for about 20 minutes at the most. There's a lot to do in this game, man. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It
looks good.
I mean, I just play knockout mode and that's it. That's all I do.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. I've had to learn to sort of not get too frustrated because that mode is kind of item jank. Yeah, you can get really walloped and just be out in the first lap, and you've got to just learn to enjoy it.
Oh no, I think that's just you because you're shit. Anyway.
I've won one. I have won one, but that is it. I haven't come close after that. It's killer.
I
go on.
Don't want to. Yeah, off air, we talk quite a bit, and I shit on this Switch 2 console launch.
Yeah,
I'm not going to devolve this podcast into just my thoughts on it, but I must say, I think, in my opinion, it could be the worst ever console launch I think I've ever seen. I can't believe.
In what way?
or take.
Okay. Just let me rattle through like 5 things, and then you can give me your synopsis.
Go on in.
Handheld battery life, 2 hours. Not OLED, despite the previous version, the Switch Enhanced, being OLED. The launch games are either games that have been out for 5 years, like Cyberpunk, or it's just Mario Kart World, which is that. And if you're not into that, that's basically you've done. You've just got all the old games, all the third-party games. You don't own the games, those third-party games. You get the right to have a link to play them online, but just crazy shenanigans. Expensive subscription model, all this sort of stuff. I just think come out with the Donkey Kong game already ready and maybe one other. They came out with Zelda and a few others. They came out swinging last time with the Switch one. I think if they just come out with a few more games and maybe OLED and maybe a bit better battery life, it's wonderful. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to buy the Switch 2 when the enhanced model comes out in like a year's time. And there's plenty of games. I get the OLED, I get the battery. Do you think that's a fair criticism or not?
So much salt.
yeah, it's salty, but I just think you bought an inferior product.
I agree with some of what you're saying. Like, it should have been OLED screen. I would have preferred that. The battery life isn't an issue because you look at how much power the actual console has when you're playing a handheld. It's using a lot of processing power. Like, it's got better battery life than the Steam Deck. Yeah. So I don't think that's actually an issue in terms of like launch titles. Yeah, it could have been better. But a lot of consoles, when you actually think back clearly and look at the exact games that came out at launch, it's not that different. It just hasn't got that kind of AAA adventure game. It's got Mario Kart instead, but like it's been a long time coming for Mario Kart, and this Mario Kart is quite different when you look at the knockout mode and all that stuff. So I think it's fine. Donkey Kong's out like a month after release. That's like the AAA platformer. And you're saying about Cyberpunk and stuff. Yeah, they've been out a bit longer, but people that have only got the Switch have never played them. So
And let's not forget when Cyberpunk first came out, it ran like arse. It had so many problems. Whereas this is apparently, by all accounts, because I don't have that particular game, but it looks brilliant. So, you can't really knock it for that. I think the screen looks great, even if it isn't an OLED. I think to a lot of people's surprise, they're like, "Oh, Joe, actually, I don't miss the OLED. This looks pretty. This looks really, really good."
Yeah, you sit outside the reflections. Do your head in?
Not particularly. Nope. I mean, I'm mostly a docked player. I don't really do handheld a great deal. That's more Rubles thing, but
yeah, I've had no issues with that. And also, you gotta like, as much as I like to shit on Nintendo, like they fucked over scalpers, which is nice.
Yeah,
came out quite well. There's still a stock. You know, what I mean, I don't know how that happened. Like, it ran out of stock when you were ordering it, and now there's stock in stores. So scalpers got fucked.
Yeah, they're stuck with those things, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, that's actually
really good. I will go back to the. No, sorry. Like, if you go back to the PS5 and look at the release and what games came out with it,
absolutely,
most of it was like PS4 game. You know what I mean? Like, there was not much new.
Yeah,
they've stopped doing the thing of having like 5 to 10. You know, when 360 and PS3 comes out, so they've got 5 to 10 exclusives all lined up, ready to go.
Yeah,
I basically think this is what I always think with tech, any tech, not just gaming. I want to see a significant leap forward to give me a reason to buy an RTV, as you will, and I think, and it's getting more minimal as time goes on. Because tech is just, all you can really do is give you OLED or 4K or something like that. That's as far as we've got now.
Exactly.
So I just didn't think it seemed significant enough a leap forward to justify me getting it right away. I can wait. I think I can hold. I'm not that I'm not that impatient.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, unless you're a huge fan of Mario Kart, then or you've got Breath of the Wild or these other games that you would love to see run better, because Breath of the Wild runs at 60 frames. It's 4K, isn't it? It's actually 4K and 60 frames, and it looks fantastic. Same with Tears. They actually got the Pokemon games running as they should have done from launch. So there's many benefits to it. But yeah, I mean, they launched with Mario Kart, which was the system seller of the last, of the first Switch. Every bundle, every single Christmas, it was with Mario Kart, because that moves units, and so it can't be understated. Within 4 days, it sold like 3.5 million or something like that units. Switch 2, so it's an absolute.
It's set new records.
It's a roaring success. Even though people were complaining, drop the price and everything else, that doesn't seem to have dented anything. So, people are going to buy it anyway. We're all suckers.
I think I know we joke that I'm salty and stuff. I don't really think I'm just shitting on it, shitting on its sake to be alternative. I think because you guys are such mega fans, I like the fact you're fans of it, and I love that it's your console of choice.
I'm not.
Wish you got more.
I don't think I'm a mega fan. For me, it was more like if I sell my Switch 1 with some of the games I don't play, I've only ended up paying about 100 quid. So
no, fair enough.
It's a worthwhile upgrade.
And I will say as well, with it in handheld, it actually does feel like a premium console as well, because the previous one with the Joy-Cons that went on the side, they kind of got a bit flimsy after a while. These magnets, they blow my mind. They're so strong. It claps in and it feels like a solid unit. I don't know if it makes the first one try and actually pull it off, but it
doesn't just come off.
Anyway.
Like, I think it makes the first one look like a toy when you pick
it does. It really does.
Saying that. And I can see that. You know what also maybe hinders this from nailing it for me first time round? When Switch 1 came out, not only was there a new Zelda game, there wasn't a great handheld device like that you could also put into a TV mode and stuff like that. Since then, I don't have a Steam Deck, but I do have the PS Portal, and I can run The Last of Us Part 2 4K Enhanced Edition for 7 hours on that thing, and it plays like a dream, and that's already been out for 2 or 3 years. So again, I already think the technology's already surpassed Nintendo.
Yeah, but you're streaming that off your PS5. It's not native to the portal.
Yeah,
so
totally.
It's completely different, really. Complete different tech.
Yeah.
So
it's a streaming service essentially.
Yeah.
So it has it's got its negatives. Yeah. So I'd say Nintendo is definitely.
And when I've used it as well, the image that I get from my TV versus what I get, the frame rate or the quality, the resolution will drop a tiny little bit every now and then, just when the connection isn't perfect.
Yeah.
So, that's an issue that obviously the Switch doesn't have. So there are the pros and cons to it. I get what you're saying. The port's great. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. But yeah, I think the Switch is in a league of its own, really. It's not really comparable, if I'm fair. And Xbox have just announced they're going to launch a handheld device now as well, Ally or something they're going to call it. Xbox.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. Who cares? Anyone play Xbox?
I don't know. Xbox is strange
Dead.
now.
It's dead, isn't it? It's died.
I
It had
think-
Game Pass. That was it.
Yeah, if this handheld thing doesn't work, I think, and maybe one more console launch, that's probably the end of them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know anyone who's a diehard Xbox person anymore. I know the PlayStation people. I know the Nintendo people. Xbox.
Yeah,
no,
the minute you see like a company start like whoring out their games to other
Yeah,
consoles, you know that it's the beginning of the end, right?
Yeah, didn't they advertise everything is an Xbox because you can basically get Game Pass on this device, that device, da 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 da. So everything is an
God,
Xbox.
really?
Yeah, it was really like shit. Really, really bad advertising.
I must say, I was an Xbox guy since like Xbox 360, and even I got the
Solid
Xbox
console.
Series S or X or whatever. And I can't lie, it plays games, equally akin to the PS5. But and the Game Pass was great. I mean, they got that Oblivion remaster that's like £50 on the PlayStation for free day one launch. And they get a lot of new games free day one. But something about the experience on the PS5 and the exclusives, like if you want to build a catalog on any console in this generation, I feel like that's the one that has every single banger game that you could possibly want to play. So you might as well just start collecting for that rather than Xbox. I don't know. But
yeah, exclusives are so important. I mean, that's the reason Nintendo stays afloat. They've never had the most powerful console, but they've got arguably the best exclusives that people keep going to, and it keeps them afloat. So why Xbox just started chucking out all their games and not supporting studios that made critically acclaimed games? What was that, Hi-Fi Rush or whatever it was that came out? That was critically acclaimed and then sold fairly well, from what I understand. They shut the studio down. It's like they buy these studios and shut them down, and they're like, "What in God's name are you doing?" Like, I don't know. It blows my mind. I don't know who's running the show over there. I can't remember. Well, I do remember, but I can't remember his name now. But yeah, it's Mickey Mouse over there. I don't really get it.
Yeah.
But the Donkey Kong Direct was today as well, and we'll quickly just touch on that. This isn't about Donkey Kong. This podcast. We'll move on to what we're going to do in a minute. But that came out today, and I've got to say that changed my mind. I was not sold on the Donkey Kong game. I thought it looked terrible. It looked dark.
What?
I thought it looked dark, dingy. Everything was underground. You're just punching the walls and everything else. Then this direct came out today, and I'm sold 100%. It was a brilliant direct. The Mario Kart direct they did the other week was awful. It was like didn't tell us anything new. It was a waste of time. This was the opposite. This sold me 100%. There was so much more gameplay variation than what they showed before. It got me emotional as well. Like, little Pauline was singing to Donkey Kong and all this, and I'm like, are they trying to make me cry? I was like, what is going on? This is insane. It had such a weird anime film kind of Disney vibe to it with the way that they're trying to build the relationship between Pauline and Donkey Kong. Yeah, and I'm just. I'm
looks like a big game, right? It looks like a big game. You probably get at least 60 to 100 hours out of that. Probably.
Oh God, yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
What the fuck are you on about? 60 hours? I've never given a game 60 hours in my life.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
What about FIFA? Sure, you play lots of FIFA.
Maybe, like, if you take 6 FIFAs in a row, I've probably got 60 hours. 10 hours into FIFA. Yeah. No, that is crazy. It looked good. I skimmed through it. It looked good. It looked like if speedrunners on that game are going to go bananas, it's going to be amazing.
Hey.
I did like the look of it. Graphics still.
It's a stylistic choice, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Stylistic choice, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could run on the Switch, I reckon.
No, you're insane. You're insane. There was one clip they showed today in that direct where Donkey Kong had to blow a hole in the floor to stop all of these spiky ball things coming down. And there was like, I don't know, it looked like over 100 of these things. And just to do that on the Switch, or you'd have about 5, and then the frame rate would start dropping. It wouldn't be able to run it. So to have all of this extra stuff going on, it needs the Switch too.
It just makes me happy, man. Donkey Kong's my dude,
Finally.
Yeah.
Bit of DK. Nice, man.
Yeah, but
all right, well, fair enough. Does that in any way, shape or form segue Nick into the elevator pitch of yours today?
Yeah, I guess so, because obviously the first 3 eps that we did games into film, right? So I kind of figured that we'd start us off now with film into a game. Let's do it that way.
Nice.
So the one, obviously, people obviously have seen the title of the episode, so you'll know. But I want to talk about True Romance.
Ooh. I'm genuinely quite interested in this because A, I don't see how this works as a game, but B, I've known Nick a long time, right? He's never mentioned this movie.
No,
so now
this is one of my favorite films of all time.
What?
Obviously, that's why you're pitching
love
it,
it.
and I love it too.
Tarantino
But
written one.
Yes.
Yes.
never mentioned it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it just never came up. I don't know. I must have mentioned it once or twice. There's
Never.
I've had conversations about film and I never spoke about the interrogation with Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper. There's no
mate,
way.
what a line.
Huh?
Do you know? Like, apparently, like Tarantino got that from one of his flatmates. He used to live with a black guy, and that guy
Yeah,
told
the
him that
Sicilian
story.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's a true story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, historically, possibly it's fairly accurate. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell.
People who don't know, and to refresh people who might have seen it a long time ago, can I give a quick synopsis of the actual film before we get into your game?
Yeah, sure. So this is from the early 90s, about 93. Yeah. So Tony Scott film written by Quentin Tarantino. And it feels more like a Tarantino film as a result because obviously, his writing just comes through, right? It's every character's got witty dialogue, snappy things to say. It's kind of excessive in its pop culture references, violence, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So evidently written by Tarantino. It's essentially about a guy who works in like a comic book, pop culture sort of shop. Down on his luck, his boss sets him up with a cool girl for his birthday. She ends up falling in love with him, confessing things. They decide that they're going to run away from her pimp. He goes to collect her stuff. He grabs cocaine instead of her clothes. And then they're on the run from people that are trying to get their cocaine back. And they want a quick sell to someone in Hollywood so they can just run off into the sunset and live their life.
Christian Slater must be Tarantino, like him thinking that's him, right? This must
1,000%.
Own fantasy.
Yeah, this is because Tarantino, when he was younger and hadn't really cracked into the film industry, he was working in a video shop, something.
Yeah, and he was a
Blockbusters or something.
Yeah, he was a virgin till he was like 20. Well, at 25, he was still a virgin.
Yeah, so. That makes sense. To be fair, yeah. And this is like Nick. So basically, Christian Slater's character. Did you say me? Almost let that slide for a minute. I was like, "What do you say?"
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's evidently Christian Slater's character, Clarence, in this film, because he's he waxes lyrical about all the things that he loves. Martial arts films, Elvis Presley, comic books, and all this kind of stuff, and he does it all the time. So you have to think that like. Tarantino's just sitting having these weird fantasies about the life he could have. Do you know what I mean? And he's just writing it all down. Like, want to go beat up this drug dealer. I want to do this cool shit, and all this.
I wonder how it would have turned out because obviously he wanted to direct it, right? Then he sold it to make Reservoir Dogs. But
yes,
I wonder how it would have turned out if he directed that film.
His original script had a different ending, actually.
Yeah.
And he got pissy about the change. Until he saw it, and then he was like, "Actually, yeah, I like that ending." So, he wasn't on board at first. I think spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. Skip ahead a couple of seconds, but he had Clarence die instead of surviving the shot to the head.
Yeah,
he ends up with an eye patch, doesn't he? But in his original screenplay, he died.
I just think like if he directed it with his first film, like the scene where Alabama gets like beaten up by what's his name?
Gandolfini, yeah. Intense.
He would have fucked that scene up so bad.
Do you think? How do you think he would have directed it?
Yeah, if Quentin had directed it, it would have fucked that scene up. So,
does anyone else find Quentin kind of an awkward dude to watch interviewed and to hear him talk?
Yeah. I mean, he's 100% awkward, but he's massively passionate about film.
Oh god,
that comes through 100%. Yeah,
that comes through. Yeah. I feel like he sees the characters everywhere in his life. Like he's whenever he's talking about them. I believe that he believes they're real. He'll be like, so Marcellus Wallace, he's okay. He's a bad motherfucker, dude. Okay, okay. He's always okay. He's always checking in with you. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
All the time. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you kind of make me feel weird and icky, and I don't know why because I share your passion. I love the passion, but like these guys, these are just made up characters in the film,
Can I just say, Alabama, when you're not the first time when you introduced it to her in the cinema. Bloody hell, man. Like, these are the kind of people I hate. Fucking turns up late, makes so much noise, drops popcorn everywhere, chats through the whole fucking movie that he's trying to watch. He's paid good money to watch. And then after the movie, she wants to pile on the calories, get some pie. Like, I'm saying, fuck off.
Alabama, she's just a wild chick, okay? She's a wild chick.
Rib would have stayed a virgin if this film was about him. He'd have been, what the fuck are you doing? Go away.
The film would have ended there. I'm like, fuck off. Go away. I'm going to watch the film again now.
Wasted my time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great film. And do you know the crazy thing about this, actually? Whenever I talk to people about, besides guys like yourselves who are like, kind of film fanatics and whatnot, people have never heard of it. I say to people, it's one of my favorite films, and they go, "What's that then?" And you kind of go, but it blows my mind. It absolutely.
It would have passed you by if it weren't for the Tarantino connection, I think.
Yes and no, but it's a star-studded film. Like, it's got Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Samuel Jackson, Michael. How'd you say his Rappaport?
Yeah, Rappaport. Can't fucking stand him.
I always get funny of his name. James Gandolfini, right? The list is, it just keeps going on and on and on. Chris Penn, Sizemore.
It came out in '93 in a time of there was a lot of crime, thriller, that genre with names like Illegal Briefs, Truth and Lies, Fear and Loathing, this kind of stuff. So True Romance is just another, probably could have passed people by. So it would have passed me by, not just because I was 1 year old when it came out, but because if it weren't for Tarantino,
you made me feel old.
If it weren't for Tarantino talking about his discography, then I wouldn't have ever gone back to check it out in the first place.
I'm quite shocked by that. I thought it's one of the beloved films, like it being most top 20 lists.
Reservoir Dogs was obviously just inherently talked about. That, and what's the one? Usual Suspects, the Kaiser Soze. All these ones where you hear about clever twists or whatever.
Yeah.
True Romance, I think, it just kind of fit into the genre. It's a great film.
It had probably one of the two best Mexican standoffs I've ever seen, that and Reservoir Dogs. And it also has, I think, the best line of dialogue I've ever heard in my life when that studio head goes, what does he say?
Which one?
It's the studio head when he finds out that he got fucked over, and he says something like, "I treated you like a son, and you stabbed me in the fucking heart. Yeah, fuck you."
He goes nuts at Elliot.
One of the best scenes ever.
I think we should put that clip into this episode and side by side your impression of that guy.
Yeah. But I think
he's got a bit of a thing on his lip, and he's like, "You go into your fucking." He does that with his
I treated you like a son. You fucking stabbed me in the heart. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Treat you like a fucking son. You stabbed me in the fucking heart. I think I heard a story about Tony Scott. He hated this producer called Joel Silver, so he wanted that character to be exactly like Joel Silver.
Right.
So when the guy performed his audition,
he
finished it, and then Tony Scott was happy with it. He goes, "Thanks, Joe." The guy's like,
"No way."
Who the fuck's Joe? He hated him so much.
Cool.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that this didn't have word of mouth, like you say. It passed people by. It's got two of the most intense scenes in all of cinema for me, with the Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper, and Patricia Arquette and Gandolfini scenes. They're so intense, and. The first one, the pimp scene is good. Don't get me wrong, but I feel that those other two scenes dwarf it completely, because just the intensity of Dennis Hopper's character, knowing that he can't go anywhere, so he just decides to just stall them and have his fun and get his jabs in and insult them. Just use their own bigotry against them to just throw some jabs, saying they're spawned by black people. And that just pisses him off, right? And then Patricia Arquette, the way she kind of knows that she's in a bad situation and she has to play dumb and ditzy and everything else to get through it, and she's getting slapped around something chronic, and then we're cutting back and forth to what she's going through with Christian Slater at the burger joint, where he's he's in La La Land. He's so happy. He thinks he's going to get this deal sorted. He's about to get some juicy burgers and go back to his beautiful wife. He's talking to a guy who's got a magazine with Elvis Presley on it. He's so happy, and it's just going back and forth between these two. She's getting fucked up, and he's over there. It's just so intense, man. And those scenes stayed with me. The first time I saw them, they stayed with me for ages. Those scenes, they were just
without
incredible.
Without this film, I don't think there'd be Tony Soprano. I don't think he would have got that role. And also possibly, we haven't even mentioned Brad Pitt.
He's funny.
Fucking hilarious.
The stoner.
I'm surprised though. Christian Slater got the main role and not Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt was on the come up right at the time.
Yeah,
I think he was unable to for some reason. I was reading a few things, and I think he was double booked or something, and he couldn't put more time in. Right. Yeah, something to that effect.
I think Val Kilmer wanted it as well.
Val Kilmer as Elvis Presley, brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I hate to be the party pooper, but I think it's about time we actually stepped into the elevator and did part 2, where you pitch how this could possibly work as a game. I've got some suspicions what you might say, but let's find out. Let's move on to part 2. And Nick, would you mind taking away your elevator pitch?
Yeah, sure. So naturally, there were so many ideas that came through stylistically for gameplay, but I think the most obvious one was probably the best way to go. And I thought like a kind of GTA style, but that isn't quite enough because I would want to lean into the insanity of Clarence because he's a fruitcake, right? Every way that he handles a situation is the most messed up, only in Hollywood type of way, right? He's got Elvis talking to him in his head and he wants to walk into a pimp and insult him just to... They could have ran away. He didn't need to go in there and insult him. He could have just, whatever. He goes crazy with everything. So I want to lean into the insanity of it. So I thought more Saints Row. Have you ever played Saints Row?
I have. That's quite a destruction-y kind of game, right?
Yeah, well, Saints Row 3 is it's a bit like GTA meets some kind of weird fever dream. It's like you get weirder weapons, weirder cars. It kind of leads into the insanity. So I kind of felt like that type of gameplay would be more suited for this type of game. Okay. And it felt like that the story... I'd say the majority of the game would be the film story, but then I'd have like the kind of last few hours of it actually be gameplay of Clarence and Alabama, where they run off to have their life, and he still kind of continues to like attack people, and you can kind of beat up drug dealers, and you know what I mean, kind of put his weird zany kind of view of the world out there wherever he goes. I kind of see the gameplay having like interior segments where it's more beat 'em up focused, and I kind of would want his beat 'em up style to be a bit more Elvis inspired, kind of silly in a way, like throwing little Elvis moves and quotes, like when he answers the phone to his mate, he's like "Hello, baby," like throwing little things, and he's beating people up. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. So really lean into that, and then that way around. You could kind of have like a sort of open area map of like Detroit, because obviously that's where one part of the story takes place, and then a little bit of an open area map of Hollywood. And you can explore those areas, and I'd like have collectibles throughout the area, like sort of Elvis albums that you could collect and stuff, and kung fu movie posters and things like that. And then when you get X amount of each one, you can unlock like a costume for Elvis, right? So like it'll still look like Clarence, but he's got like the jacket and the sparkly fucking blazer and the shirt and the collar and all that kind of stuff and the glasses. You do the film posters. He gets himself one of the sort of martial arts outfits from the films that he watches in that film as well. Just stuff like that. So have collectibles scattered throughout.
Yeah.
I would like to have the scenes that we've obviously mentioned already with like Gandolfini and stuff like that in there, but I would have them more as kind of quick time moments. So the dialogue would play out as we kind of know, but say for instance you would take over Dennis Hopper's character, the dad, and where he kind of insults him, calling him like an eggplant or whatever, you could have like 4 little options come up. So you could say the eggplant thing, you could stay true to it. You could do something a little bit more softer and see if you can get out of the situation, and then we could have like 2 more way more wild
like,
things to say.
Is it like that? I've played Fahrenheit on the PlayStation quite a few years ago.
No,
I think that game had that mechanic where you have a cutscene and then you can press like triangle, X, square, or circle, and it says or does a different thing.
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. What kind of gave me that brainwave was a little bit. If you ever played The Walking Dead, the Telltale games and stuff like that,
I think I played a few episodes.
Yeah. So they have situations like that where you kind of choose the answers that they give, and it can kind of play out differently. But I think ultimately it would still play out the same. It's just how much of I'd give the player more option to be more cunty with it, basically. Because so it would need some witty writing and stuff like that to obviously provide those options. And yeah, like obviously the GTA elements, you could have him do like side missions as well, kind of detracts from the story, but that doesn't really matter. It's a game, so he could sort of drive over and not when he's not with Alabama, he could drive over and attack other pimps and help out other women because he thinks he's being a hero, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, there's kind of like a sort of open world element to it, but obviously
boss battles. Do you have boss battles?
No, I don't see boss battles in it.
Okay.
Not really.
I mean, who do you control? Like, do you control Alabama or?
So you control Clarence mostly, right? Because obviously, the beat 'em up sections that you'd have in it, like I say, you'd play for have a sort of Elvis-y kind of fight style and stuff like that.
But isn't it apart from the pimp scene? Isn't Alabama in all the action scenes in the film?
So, well, but this is what I mean. So, obviously, with the gameplay being a bit more broad and a bit more open, because you could run off, like I say, you give you the option to run off and fight other pimps and stuff like that are mistreating other women, like the crazy shit that's in his head. He's like, I'm going to be the hero for this person over here because I've already done it for Alabama, right? So it's all that kind of stuff.
Maybe you can have a DLC mission where he goes to Albania and saves Liam Neeson's daughter from taking.
Yeah.
Hey, Liam, need some help? I'm here.
Yeah,
I'll find you and I will kill you. What does he say? In particular set of skills. You still have to do his voice really well. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
So yeah, like I say, really lean into the sort of twisted, messed up side of Clarence's character, because even though he's our protagonist and we're wishing them well and everything else, he's a fucking nutcase. So lean into that. So
let me get it straight. You've kind of got a Detroit-ish Saints Row GTA style open world beat 'em up with Easter eggs galore, with things like Elvis collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
The combat style is kind of tongue in cheek with some Elvis infused sort of moves as he fights.
Yep.
And it's just carnage, and you beat up pimps and things.
Yeah, basically, yeah. All the cool stuff that you wish you could do as the main character. People with main character syndrome that like to get into things. This is Clarence, right? So he'll insert himself into things he doesn't necessarily need to do when you've got that open world kind of gameplay. But yeah, obviously, because there's certain story beats that are really important, stuff like that. Obviously, as you were just saying, Alabama, she takes a beating from things. So that scene would still be in there. But because you're not playing as Clarence, those would be the moments where it's kind of like the like I say, gives you the options with the press X triangle or whatever, to answer these things that way. But when you're actually playing as Clarence, that's when you're free roaming around in the areas that you are.
Gotcha.
And so so obviously you play the story to completion, and then as a sort of post game thing, where do they go off to? I can't remember again now. Is it they go Cancun or something like that? Is that what she says she wants to go to? But you're down there and you can sort of roam around and do a bit more sort of extra stuff down there, find some Easter eggs, attack more bad people, and have a little bit of extra fun there. Yeah.
How does it end? What's your big end finale?
How do you mean?
Is it like a big fight? Is there a big crescendo? Like, what's the big
action?
It's game. It's going to be like the big shootout scene, isn't it? With where they you've seen the film, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. Okay,
right. So obviously
that's your end.
The big end is like a big shooting. Yeah, like a great big fucking shoot off. You've got to kill everyone in the room. You've got to kill the police. You've got to kill the gangsters. You've got to do all that.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. That's basically
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Is there any multiplayer or any online?
You could do multiplayer, I guess. Yeah, we'll have Alabama be playable multiplayer only. She can join you. She'll act as a call girl. She'll lure in bad people, and then
that's great.
You attack.
Do that with your mates. Yeah,
and
like
you double
fiction.
Yeah,
just have her. Go
exactly. Yeah, it's fiction style.
That's
so
genius.
Yeah, I could just see it being a bit of fun.
Should we head to the boardroom?
Let's head to the boardroom. Rubes, it's you and I to decide. So, do we commission this game? Yes or no? Where's your head at, Rubes?
I quite like the pitch. I can see it being fun. I was a bit surprised to learn in this episode that not that many people know it. I thought it had a massive cult following. And I could see myself getting excited for a true romance game. Sometimes you have games like that, like come out of nowhere, right? Without any prompting. Like I think, what was it? What was that? Miami something with Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx.
Miami Vice.
I think a game like that came out once out of nowhere. Warriors, the game came out well after the movie and still did
definitely.
well. So I can see it doing well like that. I quite like it. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's pretty good. I think if you took on my suggestion of that DLC where you go to the Albanian sex traffickers to help out Liam Neeson. I think that would help. And you got to put in the scene, the one I was talking about earlier. I trusted you like a son.
Yeah.
Stab me in the fucking heart. Stab me in the fucking heart.
Yeah, that's it.
That line has to be in there. But yeah, I like it.
What about some DLC where you go to like Weinstein Island and start beating up nonsense? And I like it. Yeah, I really like it. You're going to hate me though. I'm not going to greenlight it on this occasion, only because you've just mentioned the Warriors, Miami Vice, and I feel like all these games come out, do okay, and then die under the insurmountable weight of Grand Theft Auto. Even things like Crackdown, to a degree, some of the Saints Rows and stuff still pales in the light of Grand Theft Auto. I think it's such a difficult thing to get right, particularly for people who maybe haven't seen the film. You're putting a lot of effort into something that might not resonate with a key audience. I know I'm taking this really seriously. I think if you'd have come to me and said, because it's like a 90s thriller, you're going to do it in that arcade style, goofy fighting kind of execution, which is cheap to make,
like Scott Pilgrim type game,
exactly like that. If he does it like that, where like it's obviously beautiful graphics, but it's of an era. I might have gone, that's cheap. I'll take the plunge on that. That's really fun. That lends itself well to like being full of Easter eggs.
I'll tell you why I didn't go that route, because I didn't feel like the hyper violence of this film, I don't think would be conveyed in an art style, gameplay style like that.
Right.
Because this is a Tarantino script, right? It's hyper violent, blood, people getting shot and set on fire and all kinds of stuff. You'd need more of a, like I say, a Saints Row type of game to execute that and get that tone really come through. So something a little bit more lighthearted, I think that style works, because we've had recently Power Rangers, Turtles, Scott Pilgrim. There was a what's that? Who's the guy from the horror films with the trains? The Ash, whatever.
Oh, Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a crossover one with Jason versus Ash or something, very in that sort of style as well.
Oh, cool.
And I think it kind of works for sillier things or more childlike things, but I just feel like, the sort of edginess that we needed, hyper violence.
Yeah, it would also be quite. It would be quite hard to get licensing for Elvis. I know his estate's notoriously difficult to work with. Yeah,
sure, but I mean, you always just have play on words that kind of that it's that album that we're talking about,
But I mean, I think Gary set his stall here. I was going to say but
we've got to be unanimous. You can try and win me round, Rubes, if you want.
Gary was upset that we got green lights on the films last time, and he's like, "No, I'm not green lighting Nick."
I know exactly what Nick's thinking right now. He's looking at Gary like,
I treated you like a son. You fucking stabbed me in the heart. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Gary's got his little corkscrew out right now, and he's got it in my face. He's about to stab me in the spot.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid it was a great pitch. Both your pitches so far have been sublime. But if we're ever going to make this master list, it needs to be those creme de la creme, works on every aspect. And I think this would have been a green light for me if the execution was slightly different. I think you're biting off too much with a GTA clone. It's just hard to do.
That's why I'm more lent into Saints Row. I kind of started my train of thought with a GTA, and then went more Saints Row afterwards. But all right, okay, fine.
But
it's your studio,
nice.
Yeah,
it's
your money.
True.
Oh no, our studio.
It's our studio, bro. Come on. Studio. Well, that was amazing. Well, thank you. Cheers for that.
Cool. Glad you
appreciated it. If you enjoyed this pod, you can catch other episodes on all good podcasting platforms and on YouTube. And if you want to get involved, you can email us at the screenplaypodcast@gmail.com.
Get in the comments. Tell me would you have greenlit it? Is Gary crazy?
Yeah,
I think Gary's crazy. So tell him.
I'm here to be corrected. I am. Feel free, get involved, send us an email, we'll read it out next week. Until then, take care.
Hang on before we go, the quite important thing I forgot to mention.
What?
I treated you like a son. You stabbed me in the fucking heart.
I thought you were about to quit the pod. I thought you were about to leave. Sorry, I want to mention I'm done. Thanks. Like, why don't we bother setting this all up? Nice one.
Cool.
All right.